Hello, writer, and welcome back to my life. Writer Wednesday, where I give you my best tips and advice on the art and the business of writing and tell you how I do what I do as an indie author. As per usual, today we're answering a question from one of my $5 patrons on Patreon, and today's question comes to us from Ryan Starbloak, who asks, what do you consider the most difficult thing was for you to overcome in breaking through to full-time author, and what thing pulled you through that difficult thing? Thanks for the question, Ryan. The answer to this one is actually relatively simple. All in all, it boils down to security. Security of whatever is most important to you, food, shelter, etc. It really kind of all boils down to income for me, at least personally, because it's not just me, right? I have a wife and 3 kids, and for some time now, my books and the company that we've formed around them are the only means of providing for ourselves that we have. Now, I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but when I was working a 9 to 5, as much as it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, I did have security, and that was real nice. For all the crap that we give 9 to 5 jobs, especially in the entrepreneurial community, a good one can be a tremendous source of stability, and I had 2 pretty good 9 to 5 jobs in a row. And I did not elect to leave the job that I left before I became a full-time author, right? But that highlights another point. While I was working that 9 to 5 job, I felt very secure. I knew where my money was coming from. I knew exactly how much it was, so I could plan everything around that amount of money. So that feels like security, right? But as with everything else, it was just kind of an illusion of security. Because then one day, it just wasn't there anymore. And that's not security. But yeah, the scariest thing and the hardest thing for me personally was and remains inconsistency of income. It is very hard to plan what you're going to do and how you're going to be living when you don't know exactly how much money you're going to make month to month. And that's not a problem, obviously, if you're like, am I going to make 100 grand this month, or am I going to make 150 grand this month? That is not the case with me. I'm not going to go into exact numbers, and I also don't want to make anybody worry about me, but I am not sure whether each month I am going to earn as much as I need to cover expenses, less than I need to cover expenses, or more than I need to cover expenses, and do I need to save a little bit of that for future low months? So that's a stressful thing. That adds stress to your life. It's kind of the only thing really stressing me and Megan out about what we do, about what I write, and about our company. That is the only major source of stress in my life. Everything else is pretty easy to handle. I don't feel bad or stressed or anything about what I'm creating. It's more turning it into a living for us and making sure that that's sustainable for us and our kids. Because, and this is a very key factor in this, our industry changes really fast. And I have a feeling that's true both in traditional publishing and indie publishing. But indie publishing changes faster. I'm just gonna I feel reasonably confident that that's the case. And I feel confident that that's the case because the traditional publishing industry still uses a lot of the same methods and all that they have used for a very, very long time. And those methods are very slow to change. Whereas we are the new, nimble indie publishers, and so we are using all of the newest stuff. And the newest stuff never stays new for very long. As one example of this, BookBub. BookBub used to be printing money for me. It was just fantastic. I had several months where I earned multiple 5 figures in a single month back in, 2016. That was great. That was fantastic. And now that's not the case anymore. Don't get me wrong, if you're an indie publisher, BookBub is still amazing. You should always take a BookBub deal if you get it. But the major change that BookBub made was that they don't accept Kindle Unlimited books anymore. And 80% of the income that I would earn on a BookBub deal came from Kindle Unlimited page reads, which I don't get anymore. So it's another example is that Facebook ads are just less effective at selling books than they used to be. Partially because so many people are doing it, partially because Facebook has changed their rules. Bottom line is things change fast. And when things change fast, you are sometimes spending so much time trying to catch up for and compensate for the changes that you forget to, continue to create. Not just create your books, but create a future for yourself. And that reduces your feeling of stability and security of income. And that sense of stability, of security, is mostly an internal thing, but it's important. And if I still had that 9 to 5, these big changes and all of the things that we've had to do to try to keep up with them would be a lot less frightening than they are, because they are frightening. But on the other hand, if I still had a 9 to 5 job, I would not be producing nearly as much content as I am right now, and as I have over the last several years. I talk all the time about how I wish I was producing more. If I did still have a job, and if I had had a job for the last 3 years, 5 years actually, I would never have written as much as I did. As I said in one of my own own books, security is not getting by, it's abundance. And I think that it is very hard to achieve abundance while you are devoting so much time to a job that really just gets you by. That is not the case for everyone. There are lots of people out there who had really good, really lucrative jobs that then enabled them to build an author career on the side that they were able to grow relatively quickly, probably because they had some money to spend on it, and then like that, was how they launched and when they took off and everything like that. That's great. If you have that kind of setup, oh my God, do that. But that just wasn't the case for me. I wasn't in a position of tremendous financial security, and I'm still not. So for the second part of your question, what pulled me through the most difficult part of becoming a full-time author? I'll let you know when that happens. I'm still not totally secure, but I'm getting there, and I'm in control of that progress. And I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back to the illusion of security that comes from just getting by if it meant that I had to abandon the future security of building something that I'm then in control of forever. Thanks for the question, Ryan. I hope that you and others found the answer helpful. A reminder to the rest of you that my $5 patrons, like Ryan, are the only ones who get to ask questions for me to cover in these videos, and they get to see these videos 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. If that sounds good and you want to become one of those awesome and incredibly attractive individuals, check out my Patreon link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye! Today's question comes to us from Ryan Starbloak, who asks... What does he ask? Where's my phone?